Welcome, everyone. I'm Mahir, and this is my partner, Kapil. For the past 40 years, collectively, we've been immersed in the world of digital business, from classrooms to boardrooms, even to various customer meetings across everything from digital advertising to user experience.
Yeah, Mahir, it has been an incredible journey. We both have firsthand seen has how technology has reshaped industries, and I feel that we are at the brink of the most significant one yet, which is artificial intelligence. That's why we are launching Applied AI Architects because we believe AI isn't just for tech giants; it's a game changer for every business, especially small and medium-sized ones globally.
You're right, Kapil. And our ambition is to be your trusted guides on this journey. We'll be bringing you bi-weekly episodes, starting with a few, and then we will start inviting business leaders from various industries to share their real-world experiences and insights on how they are leveraging AI. We want to empower you with the knowledge not only to understand AI, but also how to implement it effectively and profitably in your own operations. Okay, so let's dive into some questions that we most often hear. Kapil, let's start with the one everyone's in mind. What exactly is a large language model or LLM?
A great question for a start, Mahir. The thing which I would like to emphasize in LLM is the language piece. Mahir, language is a principal means of communication. And what distinguishes us as humans from other animals is our ability to communicate. And that is why we have been able to progress so much. So the languages evolved for humans to communicate with each other. But Mahir, gradually there was a rise of machines and we needed to communicate with machines as well. We needed to give them instructions, which is the primary purpose of communication. So let me take you back a few decades ago. Do you remember the Sony Walkman? It had a
Yeah.
few buttons, play, pause. So this was like a mechanical communication with the machine. So you press a button and the song will start playing. Right? But it was very limited. You can only had so many buttons. So your communication with the machine was very limited. Then came the next jump where we started calling what are called programming languages like C and Java. Now we are able to communicate with machines in a much more efficient way. The number of use cases really exploded of what you can do with machines because of these programming languages. But still, ordinary human being is unable to communicate with machines because programming languages need to be learned, and only computer scientists and computer engineering graduates are able to code. So while a very small set of people were able to communicate how to talk to machines, and we are now seeing another paradigm, which is that how do humans in their natural language communicate with machines? Which are these large language models? This is a class of software which is able to understand and communicate with machines just like we are talking to each other, right? And there are huge implications. I mean, now everyone can become a coder. AI is creating websites just by your verbal instructions. And I'd like to add one more very interesting thing. The future is going to be of humanoids, where there are machines around us who work with us, and they need to understand our language. So LLM is the first stepping stone of the starting of humanoids. So hopefully I gave an overview of what LLMs are.
Very clear. Thank you so much. Dan, maybe there is also another question coming into my mind related to that. So, Dan, what's the difference between using a large language model platform like the chatbots that we use day to day and just doing a Google search? What's the difference?
Maya, I think whenever we use a chatbot, LLM, or a Google search, a user wants to know something. Let's call what he wants to know as his query, a user's query. Right? The biggest difference is that whatever query you have, LLM will directly try to answer your query. It has been trained on multiple sources of data. It will combine all of those sources, synthesize, and create an answer for you. Whereas what Google search or search does, it will not answer the query directly, but it will only point you to places where information related to your query is there. So, so it's basically a distribution or redirection to where you can find the answer. but Google search does not try to give you an answer directly. There are certain nuances. For example, Google search might directly answer a query, but those are very small fraction of queries, like what is the temperature in a city. So LLMs give you the answer by synthesizing the material, or which is already it is trained on, whereas Google search will give you the links where you can go and find the answers. But now let's try to understand, where do you use search and where do you use LLMs, right? So one, if your query is research oriented, which requires synthesis of multiple sources, then LLMs are the way to go. If your query is related to something which is real time and it's pretty direct, then search is the way to go. Let me add one more thing. Over a period of time, I see a convergence between search and LLMs. So what LLMs are doing is that whenever you are giving them a query, they are surfing the net and trying to find real time what's the information available on net, and then trying to synthesize that information, which sort of Google search does. And Google search, on the other hand, is trying to give you LLM answer as one of the results pages, right? So it just shows you what a LLM in amongst all the other blue links, all the other links, it's giving you what a LLM would answer. So both are moving towards a sort of a convergence. There's one other point I'd like to add, is about hallucinations. I mean, you would have heard hallucinations related to LLMs,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah. So LLMs can sometimes synthesize things on its own, and it can create things out of the hat, which might not be true. So you have to be a little bit careful there. And on the other hand, same is true for Google search. I mean, Google search can point you to pages, web pages where there's information related to your query, but that does not mean that the information on those pages is very authentic, right? So you have to be careful with both, right?
That's a great point. Thank you so much, Kapil. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.